Alright guys, my name is Metagoblin and today we're going to be discussing what professions are best for a rogue class in Classic WoW. So, just before I jump into the video guys, please do give me a quick follow on Twitch if you want to catch any of my live streams, and if you end up liking the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel because that helps out a lot. So the first profession we're going to talk about is leather working. So leather working definitely has its advantages in the game. You can craft the Devil Sword leggings, you can craft the Devil Sword gauntlets, which are seriously good gear for your pre-raid best in slot gear. However, it really depends on what server you're playing, because in my personal experience, I've never been able to kill a single Devil Sword. If you have friends to do it with, or you have a guild to do it with, then it is a viable option to go for leather working and start crafting Devil Sword leggings for yourself and other members of the guild. But in my experience, because I'm on such a high populated server, particularly a horde dominated server, it is literally impossible for me to farm Devil Sword gear. So in all honesty, I probably wouldn't have gone for leather working. The reason why I've got leather working now is because I am now the guild leather worker, but we'll talk about that later. Really, the decision is down to you, but in my recommendation would be, you know, if you're on a server that's dominated by the other faction, leather working isn't such a good option, to be honest, and I would recommend just buying the leggings instead, you know, farming the money and just buying it. But obviously you probably need to prioritise your epic mount now that PvP is out. The only reason to keep leather working and skinning is simply because if you become the guild skinner or the guild leather worker, because 1, you've kept skinning, 2, you've managed to get this knife here called Finkel's Skinner, which allows you to skin high level mobs, particularly Onyxia, to get Onyxia scales and stuff like that, then that's literally the only reason to get leather working and stay with leather working, because you do need to start making the Onyxia scale cloak, which I have here, which is extremely useful for phase 3 when Blackwing Lair comes out for your entire guild, and it is pretty essential. So that's only the real reason to keep leather working, to be honest. You know, there's no real reason to keep leather working after you create the Devil Sword set, unless you are going to be stuck as the leather worker for the guild. There are much better, in my opinion, there's much better professions to go for, because certain professions just generally last longer and they're either going to make you more money or just generally be more useful. So let's move on to talking about the second profession on this list. So the second profession we're going to talk about is engineering. Engineering is probably my #1 recommended profession to go for when it comes to playing a rogue, because when you level up engineering, it's useful basically forever. It's going to be eternally useful for the entire time that you're playing Classic WoW, particularly for the rogue, because I feel like it definitely improves and augmentates the rogue playstyle over little nifty gadgets and stuff that you can kind of craftily implement into your PvP playstyle or even your PvE playstyle to really get the edge in, you know, one-to-one situations and just that little bit of extra DPS perhaps possibly in raids. So engineering is just eternally useful and ridiculously fun as well to actually have leveled up. I mean, generally there's just so many useful things when it comes to engineering. For instance, rocket boots, which basically increases your movement speed massively on a cooldown. You've got the mind control trinket. You've got like trinkets that summon little mechanical dragons to fight in combat for you, which are really useful. You've got jumper cables, which has a chance to resurrect people. And obviously you've got grenades, explosives, which can stun people in a huge radius, which is obviously really useful as well. So yeah, it's just generally an extremely useful profession in PvE and PvP, so I definitely recommend going for it. It is my #1 recommended profession for playing a rogue. However, there is one more profession that we're going to talk about, because I also think it's very useful, and depends like what your focus is when it comes to playing Classic WoW, you know, whether you want to focus on PvP, PvE, or you want to focus on something else. So the last profession I'm going to talk about is Alchemy. So Alchemy is an extremely useful profession, primarily because it is ridiculous at making you money. If you're somebody who wants to make a lot of money in the game, you want to get your epic mount fast, and you want to just generally have a lot of money, then Alchemy is definitely a profession to go for. Everyone always needs potions, elixirs, flasks. Everyone always needs these things for raids. They're always in very high demand for the entirety of Classic WoW, particularly when Naxxramas comes out, because I mean, I'm pretty sure you need to spend like over 100 gold per week basically to just actually be viable in Naxxramas. Because it just requires that many consumables. So Alchemy is just going to make you a lot of money. You can combine Alchemy with engineering if you want both of those professions, and then have crafting, then have gathering alts if you want. But it's up to you. Alchemy is a highly recommended profession just simply for the money it's going to make for you. Obviously there are other professions out there, but I don't feel like they benefit the rogue as much as they benefit other classes. You know, for instance, blacksmithing, enchanting, tailoring, those things are really tailored towards casters and obviously warriors. Enchanting is useful, but at the end of the day you can just get enchants from another player pretty simply by looking for enchanter in the chat and then getting all the enchants you want, so it's not like a necessity to have enchanting. There's always going to be an enchanter in your guild as well, so it isn't like a hugely important profession to have because you can just get it from someone else. However, obviously when it comes to engineering, you actually need a skill in engineering to use the stuff that you get from engineering, so that's why having engineering skilled up is going to be beneficial to you. I'm going to finish talking about what the absolute ideal professions for rogue are basically going to be, in my personal humble opinion. You don't have to agree with it at the end of the day, but I would recommend having alchemy and engineering on your rogue, but then having another level 60 alt that also has herbalism and mining separate. Although to be honest, you could set it up in a way that your alt has herbalism and alchemy and your rogue has mining and engineering. That's also another good option, because especially as rogue can exploit the fact that they have stealth in when it comes to making a lot of money through mining, which is really useful, because there's some mining nodes which are obviously like kind of protected by mobs, and rather than running through the mobs and getting pulled and getting loads of aggro and dying, you can stealth through them. So there are a number of ways that you can make a lot of money with mining as a rogue, so that is something to bear in mind as well. So to be honest, like the ideal setup probably would be engineering and mining, and then having an alt with alchemy and herbalism, so that you can make loads of money with alchemy and herbalism. And you can also make a decent amount of money with mining as well. So really at the end of the day, you do whatever the hell you want to do. The only reason why I'm stuck with level working is because I'm the guild level worker and I need to make a Nixian scale cloaks for everyone. So which I'm not actually worried about, because I do kind of prefer to be like in a way of like, do prefer to be useful to the guild rather than being like, obviously engineering isn't massively useful to the guild. It's more like a personal, almost a selfish profession to have, but it's really useful to augmentate your playstyle. I kind of like the whole feeling and class fantasy around just being really useful for my guild. But anyway, that's my finishing notes. I'm going to end the video there. My name is Metagoblin. Until my next video, ciao.